I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. You are not alone in experiencing the effects of your thoughts. What's good, fam? We made it to day 19, lesson 19 of A Course in Miracles. And this is just a wonderful time to be alive right here, right now, in this moment, woke and awake in the dream together. We are going to talk about being awake in the dream together because the more we discuss this, the easier it becomes to maintain this state of being. And let me tell you how easy it is to maintain this state of being forevermore. There's really nothing you have to do. It's what are you doing that is stopping you from feeling this way? Because this is natural. It's like, think about, you have a cork, right? We have a cork and it's on the water, floating on the water. It floats naturally, but whenever you hold the cork down underwater, which is so unnatural, you are you are adding resistance to this cork and not letting it be in its natural state. When you let go and release, it's on top. When you go to sleep, it floats up top. Whenever you stop and release all thought, whether that's by sleeping or meditating or by focusing on something that feels good, you allow that natural well-being that is who you are to flow. So the question is not how do I find this state of mind? It's always here. It's what am I doing that is stopping this state of being from being here right now in this moment? And I do it too, but I've gotten to the point where I've practiced this so much that I'm here more often than not, and that is the goal. That is the goal because everything works out in this state of mind. Everything is always working out. But remember, yesterday we read lesson 18, and something major that it says was what today's idea does not refer to what you see as much as to how you see it. So it's always our perception. That's always what it begins with because everything that we see is neutral. It has no meaning in itself. We are giving this entire world all the meaning that it has to us. And instead of putting our own junk and meaning on everything, why don't we just step back and allow the true nature of what everything is, which is what God would intend it to be, just let that be. That's just the path of least resistance. And before we dive into lesson 19, which kind of dovetails off what we learned yesterday, emotions play a big role because really doesn't talk about emotions that much. I learned this from Abraham Hicks, great teacher. Go study all their material, but your emotions play a big role in helping you understand where you are in relationship to who you really are. So in any single given moment in time, whenever you are feeling happy, happiness is your function. That's literally one of the lessons that we're going to get to soon. I can't remember which one it is. It's like around the 50s, 60s area. But happiness is your function. And whenever you're not happy, whenever you're not joyful, you are not functioning. You are malfunctioning, basically. But whenever you feel any good emotion that stems from love, like love, joy, freedom, abundance, well-being, all of that is truth. That is who you really are. When you feel that, you know that you are allowing the fullness of who you really are to flow through effortlessly. You are not holding the cork under the water. But whenever you are doing something with your thoughts, whenever I am doing something with my thoughts, that I am looking at the situation in opposition to how who I really am sees it, which is love and light, who you really are, which is love and light, who you really are, which is an extension of pure positive source energy and God. You are an extension of that. Isn't that amazing? And whenever we're looking at something from a different perception, which goes back to lesson 18 from yesterday, it says, today's idea does not refer to what you see as much as to how you see it. So regardless of what situation is playing out in our lives that causes us to see the fear in it, it is only because we are looking at that situation in opposition to how God sees the situation, and God knows that everything in this world is love and light and can be used to help you reawaken to who you really are. And whenever we feel worry, doubt, fear, lack, any emotion, we're going to call them downward spiral emotions, any emotion that stems from fear. If you really want to sum it up, there's only two emotions, which the Course talks about: love and fear. And whatever variation they take is irrelevant, but you know if it feels good or if it feels bad. And they are great guidance. It is your emotional guidance system. It is what you came with in this body, knowing that you would never be lost and you would never need any guidance outside of you, because you are being guided and I am being guided right here and now. We don't need to read this book to understand our emotional guidance system. It is, I feel good, all right, I am allowing the well-being that is natural, that is truth, to flow. Or I don't feel so good, I am doing something with my thoughts and seeing whatever's in front of me, the subject at hand, differently than the way that God is looking at this situation right now. So instead of trying to change something out there, which is insane because nothing really is out there, it's all within, how about let me change my perception of what I'm looking at to be one of what the source within me and how that sees it, and I will realign with who I really am. That's the natural flow of energy. Flowing your energy is what me and you have been learning together for the past 19 days and will continue to do for however long this course goes on, which is a few hundred days. But it's going to be great because by the time this is done, we will no longer look outside of ourselves for any guidance because it is always within. You don't need a book. You don't even need to be watching this video. We don't need any material item. We don't need any relationship. We don't need none of those things because those things are not going to get us anywhere. It is outside of you. Your guidance is within, and it's happening every single instant, every single second. It's clear communication from God right now to you, and is that emotion that you feel. I feel good, all right, I'm looking at the situation at hand as it really is. I feel worry, doubt, fear. I am looking at the situation that I have painted and colored with all of my junk, all of my illusions, and I'm seeing something that is simply not there. So that's a little bit that just felt like I had to say. We're going to step right into lesson 19 and see how this ties in with everything we just discussed just now. So if you got the book, pull up. You already know what to do. Lesson 19. If you don't got the book yet, then hit me up and I'm just going to buy it for you because you need the physical copy. And for the meantime, the description has the PDF version. So go download that. It's free. And let's dive into this. Lesson 19 of A Course in Miracles. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. The idea for today is obviously the reason why your seeing does not affect you alone. You will notice that at times the ideas related to thinking precede those relating to perceiving, while at other times the order is reversed. The reason is that the order does not matter. Thinking and its results are really simultaneous, for cause and effect are never separate. Now, before I continue, one thing that the Course does talk about in the text is that all thought creates form on some level. So every single thought that you think is creating form on some level. That's how everything that we see has came about. Somebody had this idea, simply a thought, and they've gave it enough attention and they flowed enough energy to it that it began to amass more and more and more thoughts that were like it via law of attraction, if you will. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger until it manifested in what you see with your physical eyes. But every thought creates form on some level, and that's important to keep in mind because whenever you have something going on in your life that may be causing you uneasiness and you are more focused on the lack of what you want rather than the attainment of it, you are more focused, and I am more focused on what we don't want to happen rather than how we would like it to play out. That is creating form, and we are actually being led down the road that we don't want to go on, and we know we're being led on the road we want to go on and desire to be on or don't want to be on by the way we feel. If you're looking at your bank account in relation to money, or if you're looking at a lover in relation to relationships, or you're looking at whatever situation it may be. These are just bulky analogies, but whatever it is that you are giving your attention to, your emotion about it is letting you know if you are, remember, all thought creates form on some level. Your emotion about what you're looking at in that moment is letting you know if you're heading down, molding the clay around what you do want to come about, or actually you're focused on what you think you want, but you're actually thinking about the lack of it, therefore what you don't want, and you know you're focused on the lack of what you do want by that negative emotion. And that's such clear guidance, and I had to learn how to really use that guidance, and it is always there, and we are going to master this together, because once we get this mastered, then we are the greatest deliberate creators ever. It is just molding the clay. It is really easy. It's really easy to do. It's so simple that we have to use all of these words in order to express the simplicity of it. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. Feel good? You're letting the energy flow and you're pointed in the direction you want to be. Feel bad? You are pointing in the direction you don't want to be. And all thought creates form on some level. So just keep that in mind. Anytime that you are giving thought, which is always, you're thinking 24/7, you can't stop it from happening unless you are sleeping or you're actually focused on one thing, like your breath, and you're closing your eyes, meditating. But you are the molder of the clay, and I'm the molder of the clay, and we are the ones who are attracting everything that is happening to us. And it's not so much about what we are attracting, but it is also about our perception of it. Because if we are seeing through the lens of the yellow glasses that we talked about yesterday, that's all we're going to see. But because we are woke and enlightened in this moment, we see this world for what it really is. So let's continue. Just remember, all thought creates form on some level. Today, we are again emphasizing the fact that minds are joined. This is rarely a wholly welcome idea at first, since it seems to carry with it an enormous sense of responsibility, and may even be regarded as an invasion of privacy. Yet it is a fact that there are no private thoughts. Despite your initial resistance to this idea, you will yet understand that it must be true if salvation is possible at all. And salvation must be possible because it is the will of God. Now, another thing that the Course talks about to really catch both of us up to speed here is that there's really nothing to be saved from, and the only thing that we need to be saved from is our own illusions, our own images that we have made that we believe are real. Remember, fear is not real. It is something that me and you made by being born in this world of fear, which is what pretty much everyone has dominant in their vibration. And we are learning because, remember, none of us are alone in experiencing the effects of our seeing. So everyone's seeing this world through the tinted lenses of fear, and they are teaching that by every fiber of their being, the way they walk, talk, act, think, speak, and feel. And me and you, as these little children, pure little babies of love and light, who are still have these pure minds, are instantly absorbing all of this commotion from this world. And for the most part, the people who we grew up around most likely were asleep to who they really are, and they can't teach us what they were asleep to or forgotten. Therefore, me and you have learned a lot of junk that we now have to unlearn by understanding that it is not real, and that's the only thing that we need to be saved from, is the hell that me and you have made ourselves, the chains that we have shackled ourselves to that we think are there. The minute or so of mind searching which today's exercises require is to be undertaken with eyes closed. The idea for today is to be repeated first, and then the mind should be carefully searched for the thoughts it contains at that time. As you consider each one, name it in terms of the central person or theme it contains, and holding it in your mind as you do so, say, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about blank. Now let's go ahead and do a few together, all right? I am not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about my childhood. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about my bank account. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about person, place, thing, idea, situation, whatever it may be. The requirement of as much indiscriminateness as possible in selecting subjects for the practice periods should be quite familiar to you by now and will no longer be repeated each day, although it will occasionally be included as a reminder. Do not forget, however, that random selection of subjects for all practice periods remains essential throughout. Lack of order in this connection will ultimately make the recognition of lack of order in miracles meaningful to you. Apart from the as-needed application of today's idea, at least 3 practice periods are required, shortening the length of time involved if necessary. Do not attempt more than 4. So that is the end of lesson 19 right there. And we're going to repeat the central statement one more time. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of this thought about, and then whatever we think about it. Because remember, every thought that has ever been thought is out there. It is still existing. That sounds crazy because me and you have been for the last 19 days discussing things that we can't see with our physical eyes. And that's what the issue is, if we could call it that, is that because this is truth, which you can't see with the physical eyes, it's something that people have a hard time coming to believe because they've learned so much of this world, they forgot who they truly were, and stuff that they can't see seems unreal. But what about that mic back there? It was unseen at first. It was just an idea and concept in someone's mind, and it was given enough attention to it that it manifested in the form that can be interpreted as the idea. So what me and you are discussing here is intangible, and you know for a fact that it is truth because you feel deep down in your soul, wow, this is reminding me that I do have power. I am a creator, and there is nothing to worry about. There is nothing to have doubt or fear about, because anything that causes me uneasiness is not really there. It is something that I have done to myself. And that is just something to take away for today. I think we will end with that today. So one more time, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. You are not alone in experiencing the effects of your thoughts. And until tomorrow for lesson 20 of A Course in Miracles, I will see you then.